Live. We are live. We're live right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. Please do me a quick favor. Put in the comments what city you're watching me from today. This is the day, the Thursday that the Lord has made. We're rejoicing. We're glad in it. Today is Thursday, December the 1st. This is the final month of 2022, and we want to crush it. We want to end this year strong. And if you're watching me today live on the Ramonepreston Show, I want to say thank you. Welcome to the Ramonepreston Show. If you don't know, now you know. I'm your host, Ramonepreston. And every Monday through Friday, like today, me, my squad, we show up here live to give you information, to give you value, to give you the game so that we can show you how to properly start, structure, and at some point scale your business, your ministry, your income streams, and even your wealth building dreams. Just in case you missed yesterday's show, I was talking about survival strategies during economic downturns. So I don't know where you've been at. I don't know what you're watching. I don't know how aware you are of what's going on, at least economically in the world today. But we got a lot of stuff going on. It seems to be a recession. Digital currencies are chaotic. The crypto world is going crazy. The real estate world seems to be a little volatile, at least from the perspective of interest rates. Even with transportation and automobiles and vehicles, it seems like the interest rates are affecting that industry and many other industries as well. We have a lot of people who are not making enough money to make ends meet. And if you just look at a lot of the statistics economically in the United States of America alone, I mean, it's like out of all the households in America, only 1% of households in America make more than $400,000 a year. 99% of these households make less than $400,000, and really most of that 99% make less than $100,000 a year. So a lot of people are strapped for cash. There are studies that show 70% of adult Americans, that means 7 out of 10 people at least in America who are adults that work, that do what they need to do to take care of their families, don't even have $1,000 set aside and saved for whatever, a rainy day or any day. And so it's a problem. We have a lot of financial problems in America. We have a lot of economic problems in America. And so when we find ourselves in seasons and cycles like we're in now, which is really an economic downturn. And what an economic downturn simply means is we are pretty much in a recession. Things have turned down. People don't spend like they used to spend. People ain't making what they used to make. Even business owners and entrepreneurs, they are feeling the pinch because we have about 32 million small businesses in the United States of America. About 32 million small businesses. So that means we've got 32 million LLCs, S Corps, C Corps, partnerships. I mean, there are 32 million businesses in the United States of America. Now, out of those 32 million, most of these businesses don't even break even. They don't even make enough money to break even. And so whether you are a W-2 employee, whether you are a 1099 contractor, or whether you are a legitimate business owner, the truth is everybody feels the pinch and the pressure when we have an economic downturn. And I think you can agree with me on that. Maybe you are a W-2 employee. Maybe you're a 1099 contractor. Maybe you're a business owner. I don't know, you might even be a minister or a preacher. Whoever you are and wherever you are, I'm sure to some extent you can agree with me and you can attest to the fact that what we have going on in the United States of America economically shows up at everybody's doorstep. It's going to show up in your bank account. It's going to show up in how you get a raise on your job. It's going to show up in how people do business with you. It's going to show up in how you get paid for the services you provide, how your products sell. It shows up. But here's the thing. Whenever we are in an economic downturn, it ain't if, but whenever we are in an economic downturn, you have to learn survival strategies. You have to have this muscle built. You have to have this capacity and this capability to navigate through these seasons and cycles. Because economic downturns, recessions, they are not optional. They are inevitable, which means it's going to happen. But you have to learn how to navigate through these things. And the best way to learn to navigate through a recession, an economic downturn, economic crash or collapse or whatever it is, the best way to navigate through it is to develop strategies for survival. Now, I'm not really a big proponent of using the word survival. I really used it for this title because it sounds good. Survival strategies. I really thought about it before I used it even yesterday. And I like to say overcome, not necessarily survive, because I want to overcome. I don't just want to survive. But for the purpose of this conversation and for the purpose of you understanding that even if you have the mentality to overcome because you don't want to survive, you still have to have survival strategies. So I look at a economic survival strategy as like a worst case scenario or a default mode that you have to put yourself in so that whenever you start experiencing any financial friction, whenever you start experiencing any business uncertainty or unsettling or instability, you have this default mode that you can flip the switch on and you can start moving out of that situation you find yourself in. I'm telling you, I have talked to more people within the last 2-3 months that have told me they're just giving up, they're checking out, they're having to kind of just backtrack and withdraw and move into other things. I've talked to more people in the last 2 to 3 months about this thing than I have in the last 2 to 3 years. Because what happens? Well, if you look at what happened in 2020, let's just go through it. And hopefully you can kind of flow with me and walk through this with me, because this is kind of like part 2 of our conversation yesterday. And if you missed the show yesterday, I was sharing with you 5 survival strategies during an economic downturn. So I'm gonna go back and kind of refresh your memory on those 5, but I really want to kind of add some language and some layers to this conversation, because like my heart goes out to anybody who feels like they have to give up, or they feel like they can't run their business, or they feel like they're not making enough money and they don't know what to do, and so they get stuck, they get paralyzed. My heart goes out to you if that's where you are. But at the same time, I want to challenge you. And the challenge is going to be based on you developing these instincts and the strategies that need to complement these instincts. See, I had survival instincts like when I was in the streets, when I was a heathen, when I was just a drug addicted criminal. I had survival instincts, because when you're in that kind of world and that lifestyle, you got to know how to survive if you're going to make it out, okay? But then once I crossed over into being a Christian and being a preacher and being an entrepreneur, I realized that, a lot of these instincts I had when I was young, I need some of those instincts now, because I got to be able to survive the day-to-day hustle and bustle of just trying to make a living and take care of my family and be at peace and have some type of security. And so even though it was different, it's still fundamentally the same. And so if you just look at what has happened just within the last couple years, and I want you to track with me on this, because in 2020, we're talking about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, 2020. We had the pandemic, right? Okay, we was quarantined back in March. And then after the quarantine, we started getting these stimulus checks and we started getting these PPP loans and all these things started happening. And it seemed like a lot of people were going to come out of the situation that they were in. All right. And so by the time we get to 2021, like this year for many people was probably the best year. Like if you are an entrepreneur, most likely 2021 was perhaps your best year. 2021 was probably your biggest year. And if it was, and you're an entrepreneur, I want you to just put in the comments to agree with me and let me know if 2021 was your best year, your biggest year. Most entrepreneurs, most business owners that I talk to, they basically told me the same thing, that 2021 was like the year. Now, why is that? Well, a lot of people were coming out of the pandemic of 2020. People were spending more money. People had got PPP loans, EIDL loans. People were able to kind of parlay, the whole pandemic, and it gave them momentum. A lot of people were traveling and moving around. So when 2021 came and we were free and we could kind of get back to life, everybody was just like in this grind mode. But what happens is people don't understand economic downturns that follow these types of events. Okay? It happens all the time. It really happens, like it seems like every 10 to 12, 13 years, maybe every 8 to 12 years, you see these types of cycles happen. I mean, think about it. Okay, it's 2022. So 14 years ago, we had the 2008 recession, with the housing collapse and all that. And that lasted about a good 2 years or 3 years, and people started coming up out of it around 2010, 2011, and look, 10 years later, we're back in it. So my point is, 2020, we had the pandemic, right? We had the pandemic. This was like the quarantine, the pandemic. It was like the biggest thing on the planet. I believe Martians and Mars knew what was going on in 2020. That rolled over into 2021. But for most businesses, this was like a year that a lot of people crushed it. A lot of people crushed it. Even some of the biggest companies and biggest people in the world, like the Bill Gates of the world, the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Jeff Bezos of the world, the Elon Musk of the world, and their companies, they crushed it. But then you have a lot of small business owners. I have a lot of clients that I've been working with, some since 2020, many of them in 2021. Like even my personal coaching division that we launched just 2 years ago, it really took off in 2021. Even though we were already doing certain things in business, but my coaching division, when I launched it 2 years ago, it was like, it just took off in 2021 because a lot of people had some money, they was getting loans and so forth and so on. Now I want you to stay with me on this. And so here we are in 2022. Now all of a sudden, things start going this way. Things start going this way. We got issues with supply and demand. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is to show you that this type of stuff that happens where we saw in 2021, a lot of this stuff is not real. A lot of the business is not real. A lot of the momentum is not real. It's kind of like manufactured. It's kind of like, it's just kind of like, put together because of what took place even from the pandemic. And so now in 2022, a lot of people who own businesses, particularly small business owners and entrepreneurs, a lot of us are starting to feel the real thing. And we're starting to understand that whatever it was that we experienced in 2021, it really wasn't real. It was just an inflated, exaggerated form of business that wasn't gonna last long, because now people ain't got none of that PPP or SBA money. All that money done been spent. Now they paying the loans. Now the loans are starting to come back and you got to pay them. People done maxed out their credit cards. They can't get no more loans. The interest rates are going up. Now all of a sudden there's a crunch, and a lot of business owners don't have the business, the clientele, the customer base, the client base to sustain in 2022 what they started seeing in 2021. I know what I'm saying is true. I talk to enough people. And I'm not talking about people who just struggling. I'm talking about people who are successful. So I know what I'm saying is true. And so now what we're starting to see in 2022, and we're getting ready, we're just a month away to moving into 2023, we're still seeing this downturn, this economic downturn. Okay? We're starting to see this economic downturn. But what I want you to understand, whether you are a solopreneur, whether you are a legitimate full-time business owner who doesn't work a job, or maybe you're transitioning into running a business and you're still on the job, what we see happening right now, right here in this 22, 23, and it might even go into 24 window, what you see happening with this economic downturn is something you have to see as an opportunity. This is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you, okay? You know, one of the things that President Trump got behind a little bit, and I think Biden's still behind it, and I know it's a big administrative thing, is the federal opportunity zones in real estate. So they created these federal opportunity zones. So there are certain areas that if you go invest in real estate, it's considered an opportunity zone. You know, I think some of them you get up to 10 years. If you stick it out, you get a lot of tax benefits and a lot of favorable advantages. But what I want you to see from an economic perspective is this window right here, we only got one more month left. 2023 and 2024, you should be looking at these 2 years right here as opportunity zones. I hope you following me with what I'm saying, because trust me, I'm not just talking out the side of my head. I might not be the brightest light in the room, but I ain't the dullest light in the room, and at least every time you hit the switch, my light come on. So I want you to follow me on this. If you are an entrepreneur or you are moving into entrepreneurship and you experience what everybody in the world experienced. In 2020, we experienced a pandemic. Everybody did. In 2021, most people, especially entrepreneurs, probably saw some progress in 2021. You probably saw more money. You probably had more activity, more business, more clients, more services, more opportunities, more loans, more credit, more leverage. A lot of people saw that in 2021, but a lot of it was fabricated. It wasn't real. It's not the way business is. I know this because I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 20 years. So I know it ain't always like that. My wife and I, we were in real estate in 2008, and we saw how people crushed it in 2005, 2006, 2007. We knew people who became millionaires in 05, 06, and 07. But we also know people who lost a lot in 08, 09, and 010. You get what I'm saying? So we're starting to see these same cycles happen. Now, we crushed it in 21, and now 2022, everything's starting to change. Okay? Everything's slowing down. And what happens is the entrepreneur, the small business owner, especially the one who really hasn't built the muscle for this type of stuff, the one who hasn't really developed the capability and the capacity to handle downturns, they start getting scared. And so now people ain't doing business the way they doing. People canceling contracts and subscriptions. People ain't buying your products and services. And now you scrambling and you don't know what to do, and you ran out of money and your credit cards are maxed out, because now you're starting to feel the pinch and the pressure of the economic downturn. So now we're coming into this 2-year window, 23 and 24. But for many people, this is going to be an opportunity zone. For many people, this is going to be an opportunity zone. Of course, in the world of real estate, 23 and 24 is going to be a gold mine for a lot of people. But even in the world of just business, period, entrepreneurship, period, 23 and 24. And I'm not like Nostradamus or Negrodamus. I ain't trying to like predict. I'm just showing you the writing on the wall. I'm just giving you what I have observed, what I have studied and researched, and what a lot of people around me who know way more than me are talking about, and what seems to be like the narrative that has been consistent, at least for me, within the last 20 years. So if what I'm saying is true, and if what I'm saying is actually the way it's playing out, now you've got to go back to those survival strategies that I talked about yesterday, okay? I'm gonna give you these 5 survival strategies again, and I really want you to take some time to really get them grooved into your heart. I want you to get these survival strategies grooved into your heart. And if you need support, if you need help, one of the reasons why I was a few minutes late today on the show was we had a client that came in, and we sat down and we had a session and we talked, and we were just kind of conversing over some things that they were doing, and they were talking about what we doing and how things are looking moving forward. But this particular client, like many clients that I work with, he knows that I got to stay close to somebody like you. I got to stay in this ecosystem, in this environment. I got to keep listening to this kind of information. I got to keep following the steps and the strategies that you're giving to me. I got to continue to educate myself and prepare myself for what I'm planning on doing in the future. And so you need the same thing. So let me give you these 5 survival strategies that I talked about yesterday. Number 1, you got to keep your head and heart in the game. And this is the game of business, the game of finances, okay? Number 2, you have to stay focused on increasing your income. You need to be focusing on income, nothing else. Number 3, you need to get real good at delaying gratification. You got to get real good at this. Delaying gratification. Number 4, you have to commit yourself to connect and collaborate with the right people, with winners. And you definitely have to invest in people, systems, and processes. Like, I promise you, if you listen to me and you do what I'm telling you to do and use these survival strategies, like your life and like your business and like your success depends on it, I can almost promise you 2023 and 2024 can become the best years of your life, personally, your life professionally, and your life financially. So these were the survival strategies that I talked about yesterday. But I kind of took the last 20 minutes or so sharing with you statistics and, studies and surveys, and to show you the journey that a lot of us have been on just within the last 2 years. But now we're just a month away from 2023. And the way it's looking, these 2 years here, 2023 and 2024, are going to be critical for people financially, critical for entrepreneurs, critical for those who want to become millionaires and create wealth. And so you have to start now, of course, setting your goals, putting a plan together, making sure that your plan is being executed on a high level every day. But these are like the default modes. These are things that you need to have like embedded in you, so that even when you start doing good, you don't get out of what you got in with this. Because a lot of people, that's what they did. A lot of entrepreneurs, I know it because I consult and coach people who are running businesses. A lot of business owners, they got so spoiled with what happened in 2021 They got so spoiled that they came into 2022 thinking it was going to be the same as 2021, only to get to where we are now in 2022 and realize that this year has been horrible for their businesses and for their finances, because they just thought it was going to keep going. And they did not have survival strategies embedded in them. They did not understand that a lot of what you saw in 2021 was really fabricated. It was really what rolled over from the pandemic, with SBA loans and with people just kind of being out more, wanting to spend and wanting to get back to life and wanting to feel normal again. But it wasn't real. A lot of that wasn't real. And so now that we're seeing what's happening in 2022 with this economic downturn, the next 2 years are really going to they're either going to crush your business, or you and your business are going to crush it. It's either one of the two. Either you're going to be crushed or you're going to crush it. You got to make that decision. But I promise you, among so many other things that you have to learn, that you got to get good at, that you have to develop the mindset and skill set for, these are survival strategies. Number one, you got to keep your head and your heart in the game. So I'm not saying not to pivot. If you're doing something in business and it ain't making money, and you've struggled all year. So let's say if in 2022, this year, you've been doing the same thing and you ain't really making money in your business. Well, you got to pivot. You got to either tweak your products and services, you got to fix them, you got to correct them, you got to make them better and more valuable, or you just need to altogether pivot out of that, because you might be in the wrong business. Like, I know some people right now who are starting businesses that I'm like, why would you want to start a business like that? Like, you're not going to make no money doing that, because it's just not a business that is going to make you money. Now, there are different businesses that can make you money, and sometimes you think it will make you money and it won't. But at a certain point, you got to tweak it. You gotta don't check out, but just pull back for a minute and say, wait a minute, I've been doing this since January and I ain't made no money. I've been trying this since January. I mean, just this calendar year. If you haven't been able to make money doing certain things from January to now, move out, get out of the way. Either correct it, fix it, tweak it, or pivot out of it and find something that can make you money. But don't get out the game. Don't take your head and your heart out of the game. Don't get out of the game. That's the worst thing you can do, is to pause something you've started. No, you just got to keep showing up, and you got to keep figuring it out, and you got to keep putting time and effort and money and resources behind it until you get it right. Now, if you don't know what to do with your products and services, if you don't know if your products and services are actually good enough, if you don't know how to self-assess, self-analyze your own business, then you have to pay for someone to do that for you. You have to pay for people like me as business consultants to look at your business and to get under the hood and to help you identify with what works and what doesn't work. You have to have somebody look and assess your business in a professional way so that you can figure out what the best route is to take. You got to be willing to pay that price. If you ain't willing to pay that price, why would you just keep wasting your time trying something and you don't know if it's working or not? You have no, I mean, you just can't keep doing that, okay? So keep your head and your heart in the game. You got to do that. Number two, increase your income. So this is not the time to be so focused on my expenses. Oh my God, I'm spending too much money here. I'm not telling you to not pay attention to it, but what I'm saying is you shouldn't be paying more attention to expenses, debt, bill collectors, credit scores, and all that stuff. This is so ridiculous. And I hear people talk about this. I hear people saying, you know, all they want to talk about, and I get what they're doing, but you can't be thinking about and focusing all your attention on credit, debt, collections, bills, and expenses more then you're paying attention to increasing your number one wealth building tool. Because your number one wealth building tool is going to be your income. And I'm not saying credit doesn't play a role in building wealth. I'm not saying debt doesn't play a role in building wealth. I'm not saying managing and monitoring and controlling your expenses and your bills and debts and all that stuff doesn't play a role. But what I'm saying is sometimes those things need to be secondary to you increasing your income. So let me give you an example. I talk to entrepreneurs all the time who tell me, oh, I need you, well, they tell me, I need you to help me put my business in a position to where I can get funding for my business. So I could get a credit line, or I could get a loan, or I could get credit cards. I understand what they're saying, but what they don't understand is instead of you spending all that time and effort on that, you need to figure out how can I increase my income. And if you're a business owner trying to increase your income, that means you have to sell more products and services, or you have to change or adjust your prices so that the products and services you have can actually sell. Maybe you need more products and services. Maybe you need to repackage them, to repurpose them. Maybe you need to put more value into them, whatever those things are. But again, that goes back to you assessing your business. Because when you assess your business, or when you work with a coach and a consultant who can help you assess your business, one of the things that you're going to assess and identify is what your products and services are, what your pricing is, how you're packaging these products and services, and how you're presenting them. And if in fact it's enough value, and that's going to play into you increasing your income. So you don't necessarily have to have more products and services. You don't necessarily have to sell more products and services, but you definitely have to assess your products and services so that you can figure out creative ways to increase your income. You should be focusing on income more than anything right now. You should be focusing on income more than anything. As I said, one of my clients that I just had a session with earlier, he came here to the office because he's in the Buckhead area. He just blessed me, and it just made me feel real good to know that what he's focusing on right now is his income. He's like, I have an opportunity to make more money, so before I go over here and start playing with this, I want to get this bag. I want to increase my income so that I can have more money on the other side of this downturn or during the downturn, so that I'm not strapped for cash when I need to make power moves, okay? This is a survival strategy. Income, income, income. Because I know people, because I had to do it. There was a time in my business that all I thought about was trying to get credit cards. All I was thinking about was trying to get loans, you know, lines of credit, because that's what everybody at the time was telling me. This is why I'm not a proponent of it. This is why I preach the way I do, because I've been through that stage. Some of you might even know my testimony. I always tell my testimony, my story, that at one time I might have had 50 credit cards. I probably had $100,000 worth of credit card debt, but it didn't serve me the way it could have served me, because even though I had all this debt, I had loans, I had lines of credit, I figured out ways and finessed my way through at a certain point in my business to get those things. But what happened was I didn't have enough income, revenue. I didn't have enough sales to actually justify or sustain the credit cards and the loans and the lines of credit. So when I had to start paying those monthly bills and pay those payments, I was like, oh my God, because it didn't convert over. Because a lot of times if I had a credit card, if I had a loan, I wasn't putting all that money really back in my business, because I was strapped for cash. I needed money for myself to live. You get what I'm saying? So don't play that game with yourself when you know you're really not doing what is necessary for you to survive the economic downturn. All right, so number 3, you want to learn to delay gratification. Delaying gratification, that means you can't play right now. You can't take the free money you got and spend it. This is not the time to be trying to ball and loaf and, just get extravagant unless you making enough money to do it. But if you are living by certain principles and practices that are going to help you become wealthy, you probably ain't just spending a whole lot of free cash. So I have one of the courses in my Millionaire Blueprint is called the 5-Step Millionaire Plan. And one of the steps is for you to put aside at least 40% of your income. So if you putting 40% of your income aside, I promise you, you ain't gonna have a whole lot of money to spend and play with. But if you ain't doing that, you probably not putting yourself in the best position to accelerate your wealth. Number 4, connect and collaborate. You got to, here's what I tell entrepreneurs, whether they just starting businesses or whether they have established businesses. I always tell entrepreneurs, a part of your budget, a part of your operational expense budget should be for you to pay for a coach. You got to start factoring that in. As a matter of fact, it's December. So this is the time of the year that you should already be forecasting what your potential tax bill is going to be. And if you know you're going to pay taxes in 2023 for money that you made in your business in 2022, and you have some free cash set aside, why won't you take some of that money and pay for a coach so you could get that write-off? It just makes sense. You should be paying for that today so that all next year you could get coached, you could get consulted, you can have the business and financial help that you need, and you can use the money you pay for it as a write-off for yourself and for your business. You should be doing that now. I don't understand why more entrepreneurs don't do that, but most of the times they don't do that because they don't understand numbers, they don't understand business deductions, they don't understand the power of write-offs and accounting for their businesses, and so they really don't do the math. But if you knew what I knew, you would be doing what you need to do to lower that tax bill, and some of that money should be going towards, of course, marketing yourself, but really, if you put money towards marketing, because I know people, I got clients who pay for marketing, they pay for ads, but they don't really have products and services put together the right way. So they're wasting their money. So that means you need more coaching, you need more professionals helping you make sure that your products and services are right and that your business is put together right, so that when you do put money behind your marketing or ads or whatever things that you're doing, you actually see a return or some type of results. So you want to connect. This is a survival strategy. This is a survival strategy. I promise you, one of the main reasons why the last couple years have been so explosive for me and for my organization is because of who I paid money to connect with. I know without a shadow of a doubt that's why. Because it's something about connecting with people who are so further up the road than you and who hold you accountable, and when you accept that accountability and you connect with them, even before you start learning things from them, there's this excitement that comes on you. There's this strength and this confidence. That's what happens to me. When I connect with people and I pay to connect, I'm alert, I'm open, I'm ready. And it just gives me this drive to just go. And to some extent, it gives me that because I want to get my money out of it. I want to know I paid for something and I'm getting my money back. I'm getting a return. So connecting and collaborating. Collaboration is not just with like a coach or a mentor. Collaboration is with people who are in that community. So if you are a part of a coaching program or community of people, you need to learn how to collaborate with these people. Like, I still don't see enough entrepreneurs collaborating with other entrepreneurs. It ain't no competition. You don't have to be in competition with people, especially if you got like minds, because what you see as competition, rich people and wealthy people see as collaboration. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not competition. The only reason why you see somebody else as competition is because you probably have a scarcity mentality. You probably feel like it ain't enough money to go around. It ain't enough customers and clients. It ain't enough resources. It's so much on this planet. There is so much abundance. Don't compete, collaborate. And then number 5, this is the final survival strategy. Invest, but you got to invest in people. You're not going to have the confidence to invest in hiring people in your business or finding the best people to work with you for your business. You're not going to invest money in that if you don't have confidence in yourself, in your products, in your services, and if you don't have like your business set up the right way, which is why you need to invest in the right systems and processes. So that means you got to invest in technology. You got to invest in systems and processes for your sales, for your marketing, for your operations, and for your financials. If you do what I'm telling you to do, if you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, I can almost guarantee, I'll promise you, these 2 years here, you're going to crush it. If not, don't worry. If not, if you don't believe what I'm saying, if you don't do anything I'm telling you to do, here's what you can do. Just sit back, keep watching me and the people that run with me and see what we do in 23 and 24. And then come back to me in 2024 and say, hey, I remember in 2022, you kept saying it. And when you see where we are 2 years from now, you're going to be like, wow, man, they doing it. You're going to be watching us on reels and stories and social media saying, wow, man, they crushing it, man. That's awesome. That's the way it's going to be. So you're either going to win or you're going to lose. It ain't no purgatory in this economic downturn. It ain't going to be no purgatory. You're going to either win or you're going to lose. And I want you to win. So with that being said, I'm getting ready to go, but I want to invite you to join me this Saturday, December the 3rd. Saturday, December the 3rd, from 12 p.m. That's a 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. This is Eastern Standard Time. This Saturday from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., I'm going to be hosting this is a free web class. A free web class. And this web class is going to be on holding companies and creative tax strategies. So if you want to learn more about how to start and structure holding companies, how to build divisions and subsidiaries, how do you file and form your paperwork, how do you properly position yourself with this type of infrastructure so that you can get the best value and the most value out of yourself, out of your products and services. If you want to learn how to implement the most creative tax strategies to help you minimize your tax liability and maximize your profitability. And I'm going to be doing a deep dive. We'll be doing a Q&A. I'll be answering a lot of questions, and we're going to just have a lot of interaction because I want to set you up for success for 23 and 24, because I know the next 2 years are going to be very, very critical for so many of us who want to take our businesses and our finances to the next level. So I want to invite you to join me this Saturday, December 3rd, 12 to 2 p.m. for a free web class. All you have to do is go to Ramonepreston.com/event. All you have to do is go to Ramonepreston.com/event, and you can actually RSVP. It's absolutely free. There is no financial obligation to join me this Saturday for 2 hours. I promise you, if you take if you take these 2 hours that I'm gonna give you for this event, and you listen to what I'm going to be sharing with you, I promise you're going to leave that 2-hour web class thinking to yourself, wow, I can't believe I learned all this information. You're probably going to learn more millionaire strategies than you've ever learned, especially in a 2-hour window. These are the same principles and concepts and strategies that I live by, and that I teach, and that I provide for my students and for my clients on a day-to-day basis. And even Saturday, we may have some clients that are on, or students as well, that are on the live web class that we may even be able to get a couple success stories and testimonies so that you can hear them instead of you just always hearing it from me. But I would love for you to join me, be my guest this Saturday. It's a free web class, 2 hours. You can watch it from the comfort of your home on any device, but you have to RSVP. You go to Ramonepreston.com/event. You click that button, you RSVP, and when Saturday comes, all you'll have to do is log back into that dashboard and you'll see the link to the live event, and you'll be able to click the link and join me and many others for this free web class. I want to give you the game because I don't want you to have no excuse as to why you can't end 2022 strong and come into 2023 even stronger. And if you're an entrepreneur, trust me, what we see going on throughout this economic downturn and what we're going to continue to see in 2023 and 2024 is what could be an opportunity for you, but it's going to be an obstacle for many others. So there's going to be a lot of businesses closing. There's going to be a lot of people collapsing and failing, industries being disrupted. But in the midst of all of this rubbish, there are going to be a lot of people who become millionaires, who become financially free, who become multimillionaires, who become billionaires. You might even see some people becoming trillionaires within the next 2 years. On any level, if you get from where you are to another place that you want to be financially and in your business, it's good. It's success to you. So I look forward to seeing you this Saturday. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, but go to Ramonepreston.com/event. Thank you for joining the show. Please put in the comments what your biggest takeaway was from today's show. Part two on survival strategies during economic downturns. I love you. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday. Have an amazing day. We'll be back tomorrow right here, same place, same time, 12 o'clock noon Eastern on the Ramone Preston Show.